Yeah. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much,
dear friend,
Mr. President.
in Brussels. The fact that you are visiting the capital of the European Union and the headquarters of NATO on your first foreign trip is a strong and important signal. Just after the election in Ukraine, I had the opportunity to congratulate you on your victory. As I said then and repeated today, free and fair elections are the best proof of what Ukraine has already achieved. This is even more remarkable taking into account the difficult security, political and economic circumstances, including the continuing threat to Ukraine's territorial integrity. In our meeting today, I restated the EU's support to Ukraine and its people, who have made great progress in reforming the country since the Revolution of Dignity 5 years ago. The EU will always be determined to help Ukraine strengthen its democracy and the rule of law, fight corruption, stabilize its economy, and pursue energy sector reforms. Because a strong and democratic Ukraine is in the best interest of the European Union. We are ready to continue our work on the implementation of the EU-Ukraine Association. This has already brought many positive results in trade and investment, which benefit our people on both sides. And it can bring many more in the future. The EU will also maintain its financial support for economic stabilization, despite Russian aggression and the war in Donbass. We also discussed the ongoing threats to the security of Ukraine. The EU will stay its course and remain committed to Ukraine's sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. We condemn the Russian decrees on granting Russian citizenship to Ukrainians in Donbass or of Crimean origin. This goes against the Minsk agreement. And we continue to call for the immediate release of Ukrainian citizens illegally detained in Russia and Crimea, including the 24 Ukrainian sailors held in Moscow since November. President Zelenskyj and I discussed our next EU-Ukraine summit. This will set the priorities for our relations in the year ahead. Our joint decision is to hold the summit as planned, and we have also agreed to remain in close contact with the President. Let me conclude by repeating what I said in the Rada in February. There can be no just Europe without an independent Ukraine. There can be no safe Europe without a safe Ukraine. To put it simply, there can be no Europe without Ukraine. Mr. President,
Thank you very much.
Ukraine can count on the European Union, as always. We are and will remain your best friend and trusted ally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dear Mr. President, dear friends, dear journalists, it is very symbolic for me, as well as it is important, that my first foreign visit has taken place exactly to Brussels, to the institution of the European Union. These days, I experienced and felt that I'm meeting friends and partners. I'm sincerely grateful to the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, with whom I had the pleasure just now to talk, and President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, for this invitation and distinctive sentiment of unity and mutual understanding. the outcomes of my meetings, I can say that there's confidence that the European Union will remain a reliable partner of Ukraine on the way to creating new success stories. The European integration is primarily ensuring consistent domestic changes in the state and implementation of the reforms and commitments as prescribed in the association agreement between Ukraine and the European Union. Ukraine has to continue its movement to the European Union. European integration is a guarantee of independence of the Ukrainian state. This is the guarantee of prosperity of the Ukrainian nation. This is the prerequisite of the expeditious economic and technological growth. Together with my team, I am determined to implement reforms and to change our life for the better. The snap elections initiated by me to the Parliament aim to expedite the reloading political system, the system which is permeated in corruption. This is why a special and tantamount avenue of our work and my personnel will be intensifying fight against corruption, ensuring efficient work of the anti-corruption bodies, judicial reform and establishment of the digital government, e-government. Among my key priorities, I see also the counteraction against Russian aggression and consolidation of the international support in fight for independence and territorial integrity of Ukraine. I kept Mr. President Donald Tusk informed and other partners about the ongoing Russian aggression in Donbass and in the Crimea. I expressed my gratitude for the invariable position of the European Union in support of Ukraine and called on for the further consolidation of international efforts and heightening the pressure of sanctions to get the peace back in Ukraine. This is my main mission. As the citizen of Ukraine, we have taken stock of the situation about illegally detained citizens of Ukraine, including 24 sailors, and our common efforts in the fight for their freedom. We discussed the opportunities to improve the lives of Ukrainians who live in the temporarily occupied territories. We have had the chance to exchange views regarding the strategic region of relations between Ukraine and the European Union, as well as urgent short-term priorities. Well, on the 8th of July this year, I will be glad to welcome you to Ukraine, all our European partners. In the summit, Ukraine, European Union, this would be an important opportunity to give a new, powerful impetus for the development of our relations. After the meeting, we have concluded that not only Ukraine needs European Union as a guarantor of its success as independent and prosperous country, but also the European Union needs Ukraine, democratic, friendly, stable, strong. I'm confident that we have to set ambitious objectives and, by joint efforts, to work on achieving them. I count that President Donald Tusk will always remain a friend, a powerful and reliable advocate of Ukraine the world over.